One plant fixes 250 to 500 pounds of nitrogen per acre every single year. For free? From thin air? Let me put that in perspective. A bag of synthetic nitrogen fertilizer costs $50 to $80 and covers maybe half an acre. This plant does the same job for the cost of seeds, and it does it forever. During World War II, American farmers could not get synthetic fertilizers. The factories were making explosives. Chemicals were rationed. Experts predicted crop failures and food shortages. Instead, something remarkable happened. Farmers went back to this plant and 9 other techniques their grandparents knew. Victory Gardens produced 40% of all vegetables consumed in America. Harvests did not collapse. In many cases, they increased. After the war ended, the fertilizer industry had a problem. Farmers had just proven they did not need synthetic chemicals. What happened next will make you question everything you thought you knew about modern agriculture. Here are 10 soil secrets they buried. Number 1. Nitrogen-fixing legumes. This is the plant that nearly destroyed the fertilizer industry. It is called a legume, and it does something that seems impossible. Legumes form a partnership with bacteria called rhizobia. These bacteria live in small nodules on the plant's roots, and they perform a miracle of chemistry. They take nitrogen gas from the air and convert it into ammonia that plants can use. This is called nitrogen fixation, and the numbers are staggering. Alfalfa fixes 250 to 500 pounds of nitrogen per acre per year. That is the most powerful nitrogen fixer known to agriculture. Red clover fixes 75 to 200 pounds. Hairy vetch fixes 90 to 200 pounds. To put this in perspective, most crops need about 100 to 150 pounds of nitrogen per acre per year. A single planting of alfalfa provides more than enough, for free, every single year. The cost? Seeds. Maybe $20 to $50 per acre. Compare that to synthetic nitrogen at $150 to $300 per acre, every single year, forever. But here is what the fertilizer industry does not want you to understand. When you use synthetic nitrogen, plants stop forming relationships with nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Why would they? The nitrogen is already there. So the bacteria die. The soil biology collapses. Then, you need fertilizer every year. You become a permanent customer. Legumes do the opposite. They build soil biology. They increase organic matter. They leave the soil more fertile than they found it. A technology that eliminates the need for your product is a threat to your business. And the fertilizer industry responded accordingly. They buried this knowledge under decades of marketing. Number 2, crop rotation. This technique is 8,000 years old. Farmers in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Rome understood it. European peasants practiced it for centuries. Then we forgot it in a single generation. Crop rotation means growing different crops in sequence on the same land. A classic 4-year rotation might be wheat, then turnips, then barley, then clover. Each crop serves a purpose. Wheat takes nitrogen from the soil. Turnips break up compacted soil with deep roots. Barley uses different nutrients than wheat. Clover fixes nitrogen and restores what the wheat took. The cycle repeats forever. The soil never depletes. Research shows that diverse crop rotations increase yields by 10 to 25% compared to monocultures. They break pest and disease cycles without pesticides. They balance nutrient extraction without fertilizers. After World War II, the industry pushed monoculture. Grow corn. Every year. Same field. Same crop. Monoculture depletes specific nutrients. It concentrates pests and diseases. It requires more and more chemical inputs just to maintain yields. This was not an accident. This was a business model. A farmer practicing rotation needs almost nothing from the chemical industry. A farmer practicing monoculture becomes a permanent customer. 8,000 years of accumulated wisdom abandoned in 20 years. Not because it stopped working, because someone else's profit depended on you forgetting. Number 3, wartime, composting. In 1941, the British Ministry of Agriculture released detailed guides on composting. Fertilizer was scarce. The nation needed food. Composting was the solution. The method was simple. Layer 1. 6 inches of garden waste. Leaves, weeds, kitchen scraps, anything organic. Layer 2. 2 inches of animal manure. cow, horse, pig, chicken, rabbit, whatever you had. Layer 3. A thin sprinkle of soil. Repeat until the pile is 3 to 4 feet tall. Turn it every 3 weeks. In 8 to 12 weeks, you have black gold. This compost contains everything plants need: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, trace minerals, beneficial bacteria, and fungi. A complete fertility package created from waste. Cost? 0. You are recycling materials you would otherwise throw away. During the war, every household composted. It was patriotic. It was necessary. It worked. After the war, composting became old-fashioned. Modern gardeners bought bagged products instead. The supply chain replaced the cycle. Here is the truth. The compost you make at home is superior to anything you can buy. It is alive with beneficial organisms. It is perfectly balanced for your soil, and it costs nothing. The wartime generation understood this. We were taught to forget. Number 4. Cover crops and green manure. A cover crop is planted not for harvest, but for the soil. You grow it during fallow periods. You grow it between cash crop seasons, then you cut it down and let it decompose in place, or you till it under as green manure. The benefits are extraordinary. Cover crops add organic matter to the soil. 2 to 4% increase per year is common. They prevent erosion, they suppress weeds, they feed the soil microbiome. But here is what the research shows. A global meta-analysis found that cover crops increase subsequent yields by 5 to 10%. Legume cover crops specifically showed 9.8% higher yields than non-legume covers. The Rodale Institute ran the longest agricultural study in American history, 40 years comparing organic methods, including cover crops, against conventional chemical farming. The results should have made headlines. Organic yields matched conventional in normal years. During drought conditions, organic plots produced 40% more than conventional. Not a little more. 40% more. The soil in organic plots held more water. It had more biological activity. It was more resilient to stress. This study exists. The data is public. The fertilizer industry has spent decades making sure most farmers never hear about it. A cover crop seed mix costs $20 to $40 per acre. It eliminates the need for herbicides and reduces fertilizer needs dramatically. That is exactly why you were never taught about it. Number 5. Biochar and terra preta. 2,500 years ago, indigenous people in the Amazon basin created the most fertile soil on Earth. They called it terra preta, black earth. Scientists discovered these soils in the 20th century and could not believe what they found. In a region known for poor, acidic, nutrient-depleted soil, there were patches of deep black earth that supported abundant agriculture, soil that had remained fertile for millennia. The secret was charcoal. These ancient farmers mixed charcoal into their soil, along with organic waste and pottery shards. The charcoal did something remarkable. It created permanent structure. It provided habitat for beneficial microbes. It held water and nutrients like a sponge, and unlike regular organic matter, it did not decompose. That charcoal is still there. 2,500 years later, still making soil fertile. Today we call this technique biochar. You create it by burning wood or agricultural waste in a low-oxygen environment. The resulting charcoal, when added to soil, provides benefits that last for centuries. The cost? Nearly free. You are converting waste into a permanent soil amendment. Modern agriculture discovered this ancient knowledge and tried to patent it. Biochar is now marketed as a premium product for climate-conscious gardeners, but the technique itself is free. It always was. Ancient farmers knew this 25 centuries before the fertilizer industry existed. Number 6. Three Sisters intercropping. Native American farmers developed a system so elegant that modern science still cannot fully explain why it works so well. They called it the Three Sisters: corn, beans, and squash planted together. Each plant serves the others. Corn grows tall, providing a natural trellis for the beans to climb. No stakes needed, no string, no labor. Beans fix nitrogen from the air, feeding themselves and the corn and squash around them. No fertilizer needed. Squash spreads across the ground with enormous leaves. These leaves shade the soil, preventing weed growth and retaining moisture. No herbicides needed. No irrigation in many climates. The three crops together produce more food per acre than any of them grown alone. They require fewer inputs. They build soil rather than depleting it. This system sustained civilizations for thousands of years. Modern agriculture calls this intercropping, or polyculture. Research consistently shows it outperforms monoculture. But the industry cannot sell specialized chemicals for mixed systems. They need uniform fields with uniform problems, requiring uniform solutions. A farmer practicing Three Sisters needs almost nothing from the supply chain. A farmer practicing monoculture corn needs seed treatments, fertilizers, herbicides, insecticides, and fungicides. The business model requires you to forget what worked for millennia. Number 7. Animal integration. Before World War II, every farm had animals: cows, pigs, chickens, horses. They were not just food sources, they were fertility engines. Animal manure contains everything plants need. Chicken manure provides nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium at roughly 3, 2.5, and 1.5. Cow manure is gentler at roughly half, 0.3, and half. Both contain calcium, magnesium, sulfur, and trace minerals. Both contain billions of beneficial microorganisms. The traditional farm was a closed loop. Crops fed animals, animals fed soil, soil fed crops. After the war, animals moved to concentrated feedlots. Manure became a waste disposal problem. Meanwhile, farms bought synthetic fertilizer to replace what the animals once provided. The irony is stunning. We pay to dispose of manure at feedlots. We pay to manufacture synthetic fertilizer at chemical plants. We pay to transport both. We damaged our soil and our waterways simultaneously. The solution to a waste problem and a fertility problem was the same thing. We just separated them by hundreds of miles and multiple corporate supply chains. The traditional farmer understood that animals and crops belong together. We were taught to forget. Number 8. Wood ash. Every home heated with wood during World War II. And every gardener knew what to do with the ash. Wood ash contains 20% or more calcium. It works like agricultural lime, raising soil pH in acidic conditions. It contains about 4% potassium, essential for flowering and fruiting. It provides phosphorus, magnesium, and trace minerals. The NPK equivalent is roughly 0, 1, 3. Not a complete fertilizer, but a valuable soil amendment. During the war, nothing was wasted. Ash went into the garden. It corrected pH. It provided potassium. It deterred certain pests. Today, most people throw ash in the garbage. They drive to the store and buy lime. They buy potassium fertilizer. The replacement costs money. The original was free. This is not ancient history. This was standard practice within living memory. Your great-grandparents knew this. The knowledge disappeared in a single generation. Not because it stopped working, because someone found a way to sell you what you once had for free. Number 9. Fallow periods. The Bible commanded farmers to let land rest every 7th year. European farmers practiced 3-field rotation, with one field always fallow. Civilizations around the world understood this principle. Soil needs rest. During fallow periods, soil biology recovers. Organic matter accumulates. Pest and disease cycles break. Moisture reserves rebuild. The land regenerates. After World War II, fallow became wasteful. Idle land was unproductive land. Modern farmers were told to maximize every acre every year. Continuous cropping with chemical support seemed more efficient. It produced more bushels per acre in the short term. But long-term yields decline without rest periods. Soil structure degrades, compaction increases, organic matter disappears. The land becomes dependent on increasing chemical inputs just to maintain production. Traditional farmers understood that rest is not laziness. Rest is investment. A field left fallow for 1 year produces more over a decade than a field pushed to exhaustion every year. The fertilizer industry profits from exhaustion. They profit from degradation. They profit from dependency. Fallow produces nothing to sell. That is exactly why it was abandoned. Number 10. The soil food web. This is the secret beneath all the other secrets. The foundation, the fertilizer industry systematically destroyed. 1 teaspoon of healthy soil contains more living organisms than there are people on Earth. Bacteria by the billions. fungi spreading microscopic networks for miles, protozoa and nematodes, earthworms and insects, an entire ecosystem invisible to the naked eye. This is the soil food web, and it does everything synthetic fertilizers claim to do, for free, forever. Bacteria decompose organic matter into plant-available nutrients. Mycorrhizal fungi extend root systems by hundreds of times, transporting water and nutrients from distant soil. Predatory organisms control pest populations. The entire system regulates itself. When you add synthetic nitrogen fertilizer, you short-circuit this system. Plants stop partnering with nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Why would they? The nitrogen is already there. Fungal networks die back. They are not needed. The soil food web collapses. A Yale study documented this destruction. High nitrogen inputs destroy soil carbon. The microbes consume it. The living system that took centuries to develop can be eliminated in years. And once it is gone, you need fertilizer. Every year. Forever. This was not an accident. This was the business model. The fertilizer industry does not sell soil fertility. They sell soil dependency. They profit from destruction. Every purchase finances further degradation. The soil food web rebuilds itself when you stop poisoning it. But that requires patience. And patience does not generate quarterly profits. 10 secrets. Nitrogen-fixing legumes that fertilize for free. Crop rotation refined over 8,000 years. Wartime composting that turns waste into wealth. Cover crops that build soil while you sleep. Biochar that lasts for millennia. Three sisters intercropping perfected by indigenous wisdom. Animal integration that closes the nutrient loop. Wood ash that replaces purchased lime. Fallow periods that let the land heal. And the soil food web that makes everything else possible. None of this is new. None of this is complicated. None of this requires a chemistry degree or a line of credit. It requires only one thing: the willingness to stop buying what you can create. After World War II, the fertilizer industry faced a choice. Help farmers become self-sufficient, or create permanent dependency. They chose dependency. They chose profit. They chose to bury knowledge that threatened their business model. But knowledge cannot be buried forever. The Rodale Institute study exists. The science is settled. Traditional methods work. They have always worked. They will always work. The only question is whether you will remember what the industry spent 70 years helping you forget. Your soil is waiting. The 10 secrets are free. What you do next is up to you.